Welcome to our in-depth exploration of the Israel-Palestine conflict, a topic often shrouded in complexity and misconceptions. Today, we're diving deep into the intricate layers of this long-standing dispute to unravel its historical roots and contemporary implications. First things first, let's debunk some common myths surrounding the Israel-Palestine conflict. Contrary to popular belief, this isn't simply a religious feud dating back centuries. While religion does play a role, the heart of the conflict lies in competing claims to the same land by two distinct groups of people. To truly understand the conflict, we need to rewind to the early 1900s, a pivotal period in the region's history. Back then, the area we now know as Israel-Palestine was a melting pot of different religious and ethnic groups, living together under Ottoman rule for centuries. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we witness the emergence of distinct national identities among the inhabitants of the region. It was during this period that the seeds of nationalism were sown among the inhabitants of Palestine. Palestinians began to see themselves not just as subjects of the Ottoman Empire, but as a cohesive community with aspirations for self-rule. Both Arabs and Jews began to assert their distinct national identities, laying the groundwork for future conflict over territorial sovereignty. Meanwhile, in Europe, another movement was gaining momentum. Zionism, a political movement advocating for the establishment of a Jewish homeland, fueled by centuries of persecution and anti-Semitism. For many Jews, Palestine held the promise of a sanctuary from oppression and a return to their ancestral homeland. Palestine represented not only a historical homeland for Jews, but also a safe haven from persecution in Europe. On the other side, Arab nationalism was also on the rise, fueled by a desire for self-determination and independence from foreign rule. Palestinians, comprising Muslims, Christians, and Jews, began to coalesce around a shared sense of identity and a vision for their own sovereign state. After World War I, the collapse of the Ottoman Empire led to the division of its territories by the Allied powers. With the fall of the Ottoman Empire, Palestine came under British control as a League of Nations mandate. However, British colonial policies, including support for Jewish immigration, exacerbated tensions between Arab and Jewish communities, laying the groundwork for future conflict. Under British rule, tensions between Jewish and Arab communities in Palestine reached a boiling point. The influx of Jewish immigrants and land purchases by Jewish settlers fueled resentment among the Arab population, leading to outbreaks of violence in the 1930s. This period witnessed a surge in clashes between Arab and Jewish factions, driven by competing claims to land and resources. Arab revolts and Jewish paramilitary groups clashed, resulting in widespread bloodshed and the displacement of thousands of civilians. The horrors of the Holocaust during World War II cast a long shadow over the Israel-Palestine conflict. In its aftermath, Jewish survivors, traumatized and displaced, sought refuge in Palestine, intensifying demographic pressures and exacerbating Arab-Jewish tensions. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan for Palestine, envisioning separate Jewish and Arab states. While Jewish leaders accepted the plan, Arab states rejected it, leading to armed conflict and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The subsequent declaration of the State of Israel in 1948 triggered a series of Arab-Israeli wars, shaping the contours of the conflict for decades to come. Israel's victory in these conflicts led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, creating a refugee crisis that persists to this day. Following the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel occupied the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, and Sinai Peninsula, further intensifying Palestinian grievances and resistance. Palestinian nationalism, embodied by the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, emerged as a potent force against Israeli occupation. The late 20th century witnessed two Palestinian uprisings, known as intifadas, against Israeli occupation and repression. These grassroots movements, characterized by mass protests and acts of resistance, galvanized global attention and solidarity with the Palestinian cause. Efforts to resolve the conflict, from the Oslo Accords to subsequent peace negotiations, have faced numerous obstacles. Core issues such as borders, settlements, refugees, and the status of Jerusalem remain unresolved, perpetuating the cycle of violence and mistrust. In the Gaza Strip, in particular, prolonged Israeli blockades and military offensives have exacerbated humanitarian crises, leaving the population vulnerable to poverty, unemployment, and lack of basic services. The plight of Gaza's residents serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of the conflict. As we reflect on the complexities of the Israel-Palestine conflict, it becomes clear that a just and lasting solution requires a commitment to dialogue, mutual recognition, and respect for the rights and aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. Only through genuine engagement and cooperation can we hope to achieve a future of peace and coexistence in the region. Today, the Israel-Palestine conflict is a multifaceted issue shaped by historical, political, and socio-cultural factors that remains as entrenched as ever, with both sides deeply entrenched in their respective narratives. As we navigate through the complexities of this conflict, our goal is to shed light on its multifaceted nature and foster a deeper understanding among our viewers. By unraveling its complexities and challenging common misconceptions, we hope to contribute to the ongoing dialogue and quest for peace in the region. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses and discussions. Together, let us continue to seek pathways to peace and reconciliation in this troubled region.